Okay, so I think we're live now, so that's pretty cool. Are we live? We are indeed live. Okay, so hello everybody, Matt is back here again. As you can, okay, cool. Hello everybody, Matt is back here again. As you can see by the screen, we're going to be doing another Mastercast. Now, I'm sure you have a lot of questions. The first one being, where have I been? And the second one being, when my next video is coming out, and of course, the Mastercast news. And we're going to get to all that in a moment, but first let me explain where I've been. So I guess we'll start from the beginning. I've been very busy with things like SATs, school, college stuff, as well as my mom's project that I'm working on, and robotics has been a big thing that I've been taking up my time. So for an entire month, pretty much, through, so we're in April now, so for the entire month of March, I was pretty much not available because of that. So if we go back to like right around here is when I started with robotics, and sort of the build season started picking up into competition season, which is when we compete with robot and stuff. So that took up a little bit here. School took up a while, getting projects in and stuff before the end of the quarter, the week after. And then we had robotics and SAT. So SAT was March 27th, 28th, so this entire week and this entire week. This is here, so everything before that, pretty much from the 16th on, was SAT prep. And then robotics took up the 22nd and 23rd and 24th, which was robotics competitions where we compete with the robot and stuff. So we did a couple of those. Then we had SAT, and then we had another competition the week after, and then we went into April, and then we had more more like college stuff. We're going to get our SAT scores on the 19th, so that'll be fun. More school things, wrapping up more projects, and so on and so forth. So I haven't really had time to work on, other projects, other things like YouTube. And so I'm going to hopefully be able to get back into that pretty shortly. So now that I've explained where I've been, let's try to explain overall what's going to be happening for the channel. So I'm still working on videos. Don't worry, I haven't ended that, at least for now. I'm working on the Sony headphone review. So if I go, I'm working on a Sony headphone review. The Sony WH-1000X M3 are the headphones I'm currently working on reviewing here, but I'm also going to be reviewing a bunch of games as well to sort of keep the content rolling, because I decided it's taking too long to have these be a priority. So I'm going to work on that review while I work on other reviews like the Division 2 and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I'm going to be continuing working on videos. Hopefully you'll see more speed tech videos or essay video type of thing on the channel later on. I want to try to get that working as... I'm tired. I want to try to get that working as well, because we've only had one episode. I want more episodes of that, because I think it's an interesting series that I haven't really done enough with so far. So a couple of updates for you before we start the news. I think I've said this before, but the next video you'll see by me, the editing and the animation stuff is going to be a little bit different. I think it's going to look a lot better than what I currently am doing, and so you'll see that as well. I'm not really using anything different here. Still got OBS running. Still got all that stuff. Good. Anyways, let's get on to the news that we are going to have today. So, everything Apple, Samsung, and PS5. So, Apple released a lot of stuff, like an absolute large quantity of things Apple released, and we're going to go through all of them in relatively the date of when it sort of surfaced. So my last Mastercast was on Mastercast 11, where we talked about the S10 and Samsung's whole reveal of that. So about 3 days after that, so that was what, the February 22nd, this area. So 3 days after that, like the 28th, and starting with the March area, they released a bunch of new, interesting, I would say, products. The first one being new iPads. So if you don't know, iPad, great product, by the way, love them. And they released 3 new versions of it. So there's the iPad Air that's new, iPad Mini that's new, and then they have this, and so they've fixed that. So we have the iPad Air. So effectively what's different from this compared to the normal one, or the one before it, is the Theron design. So as you can see, it's a little Theron here. It has a true tone display, so similar to these right here, it's going to adjust the display based on what the color is outside, or what the light is outside, so it can adjust color temperature. It has the Apple Pencil support Gen 1, so that's pretty good. It has a smart connector on the bottom of the base here, and then True Tone, Theron design, Smart connector. Oh, it also has the updated chipset, as you can see, the A12 Bionic chip, which is really good. It has Touch ID, has all that good stuff, and it's only $500. Ultimately, I think that's really good. I think that we need an iPad like this size to overall be in this position. We have this, which is good. Yep, thermal design, LTE versions, better performance. The new Retina display with excellent color accuracy. There's True Tones. You can have better cameras now. AR, Apple Pencil, take notes. We have a smart keyboard with a smart connector, and then iOS and stuff. And it's all pretty good and all the standard that you would expect from something like an iPad. Now, we have two more iPads to actually look at. We have the iPad mini, and then we have the iPad smart case. So the iPad mini right here is effectively the same thing, except it's a smaller version. It has pencil support. It has smaller, so as you can see, it's less than a pound. Touch fingerprint sensor, very small. Has the pencil compatibility, has the A12 chip, but it doesn't have the True Tone display. So pretty much they're just talking about performance. Has Retina display. Has the camera, so there's better cameras, and then Apple Pencil, and then iOS, and blah, blah, blah. So that's pretty cool, and that's starting at $400. So I definitely think if you want an iPad, you should definitely check those out. And then we have the standard iPad right here. The smart case is actually pretty interesting. So it's a full-size keyboard, front and back protection. It looks like this. From reviews, people are saying it's not that good, considering it's kind of mushy, flat, and $180. It's just not really worth it. They're going to advertise the hell out of it, because that's what they like to do, having different things. But honestly, you could buy, for instance, I would suggest a Logitech Anchor some stuff, but the Logitech Slim Folio is a good keyboard right here that people can use with things like that. So it's $100, not this thing. This is like the weird case that's attached, but this keyboard right here, if I can get a better picture of it, which I can't. This keyboard right here is a lot better. It has better controls than the Crayon pencil, which is what they call it. As you can see, this keyboard right here has a better layout overall and better typing experience than the thing Apple sells, and it's $60 cheaper. So if you want to get that, you can do it. Head over to the Logitech site, and you should be all right. Rhymes. So that's cool. Anyways, what are we going to move on to now? We're not nearly done with all the Apple stuff. We have really, sorry if this video live stream is sounding kind of rushed. So we had the iPads, we had the Macs. So going back to Apple for like a long time now, they have new Macs. So they updated their iMac, as you can see here, with better specs, better internals, and I'm going to show you that right now. So if you go to buy an iMac, you're going to get the 21 and 27 inch. So as you can see, new Retina 4K display, 3.6 quad-core processor to 3.6 gigahertz, which is how fast things are going to refresh. You want this number to be pretty high. This is really good. Quad-core 8th Gen i3, 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM, 1 terabyte hard drive, 2 Thunderbolts, and this for $1,300, which actually isn't too bad. Not great, but not bad. You go over here and see, okay, we have 4K panel, 3.0 gigahertz, 6-core 8th Gen i5. The only difference between an i5 and an i7, by the way, is hyper-threading, so effectively overclocking and making it faster than it should be. But this right here, which is like the standard what you buy, is a really good deal, actually. It's a 4K panel, so that's really nice. 3 gigahertz, that 8th Gen i5, 8 gigs of RAM, that's a little, not as much, but like all this is really good. And then if you select it and say, okay, I want to add this thing, not really useful, I want to add 16 gigs of RAM. Okay, perfect, it's at 1700. Let's say you want to do an i7, so you have a 4K 2.3 gigahertz, that 16 gigs of RAM. This is a very good desktop, and it's only 1900. So you actually do get a better value because of that 4K display there. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, nothing I would pay for. I love my computer as it is, and I like gaming. But if that's something you want to look at, then you can do that as well. Back to Apple again. They released their new AirPods. So everyone loves the AirPods, obviously. If you don't love the AirPods, what are you doing? What are they under? iPhone, maybe? AirPods, perfect. So they released the AirPods 2. Effectively, they're not called AirPods 2, they're just called AirPods for some reason. But what they are is wireless charging, better battery life, Hey Siri support, and the H1 chip. So yeah, better talk time. Wow, this is very laggy actually. Yeah, so wireless. So they're actually quicker now to pair with the H1 chip. They're quicker to pair with certain Apple devices. So if you have your iPhone and you switch to like iPad or something, they're going to pair a lot quicker than they usually would in that sort of scenario there. So that's good. Hey Siri function now, you can ask it to call people, play music, turn up the volume. That's talking about the chip, 2 times faster switching. Optical sensors, take them out of your ears, that whole stuff. That's effectively, when you take them out of your ears, they stop playing music, which is nice. Charge it up with the wireless charging case. They can put it on the charging pad that they give you or whatever, and then you can charge it like that. That is an extra $40 cost if you're going to buy them. But the actual new versions of the AirPods are the same price, which is good. 24 hours of power. That's pretty cool. Instant charging, and then you have your free trial of Apple Music here. So that's pretty nice. And they released this like all within the same 3-day period. Like they released the iPads, then they released the Macs, then they released this, and then they released a bunch of other stuff. If we go to TV, Apple TV app, Apple TV Plus, and then the other stuff. So if you go to Apple TV Plus, they started with a bunch of subscriptions. So on the 14th of March, or around this era, we had like an event for Apple, and they released a bunch of new things. Apple TV Plus, Apple Arcade, Apple Card, and Apple News Plus. Apple TV is effectively a Netflix subscription-style service with exclusively in the Apple TV app. That is effectively just Netflix, but Apple-ified, and it's going to be interesting to see how that works. No information about it currently, except that we have a bunch of people that say they're going to work on stuff, so we'll see about that. They also have, they're redesigning the Apple TV app to have like Watch Now, movies, TV shows, sports, kids, and they're going to organize it like this. So that'll be interesting. So in case you want to watch stuff, you can. So it's trying to affect the whole Netflix, or not Netflix, Hulu. I guess this is more targeting because Hulu has an app that works well. Netflix also has an app, but this seems more targeted to Hulu with their live TV subscription where you have like games and things. So we'll see how that works out. I'll probably make a video on this when more information is available, but right now we just know that it's going to attempt to compete with these places. So yeah, the next thing that they announced was Apple Arcade. It's probably not going to show up here. Why would it? But yeah, the Apple Arcade is effectively a subscription service that's going to compete with pretty much nothing. It's going to be similar to the Google Stadia, which I also haven't talked about. Google released their Google Stadia, which is effectively a wireless, like, well, not wireless, a cloud-based gaming platform. So if you went to like a Google Play Stream or whatever, and you'd like play games, it's effectively Netflix for video games, where you can like you can stream through your Wi-Fi and stuff to their servers, like a game you bought or something, which will be interesting to see how that works. Yeah, so that's what Google Stadia. We don't know any price or anything. I just thought I mentioned that because I'm pretty sure I haven't been on here to mention that beforehand. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. Google Stadia, interesting as a Wi-Fi symbol here. They're going to sell a controller that can connect to the Wi-Fi, and we'll see how the latency issue works with that. Next thing. So yeah, so that's Google Stadia, right? And the Apple Arcade is going to be the same thing, but for mobile games. So if you're a big mobile gamer and want to do that, Apple Arcade has you covered by paying like a $10, $15 subscription every month to get a bunch of mobile games for free, and that's pretty useful, I'd say. So next is the news. So Apple News Plus isn't really that interesting. It's effectively just Apple News Plus is effectively magazine service. So in case you still buy magazines, you can, you know, conglomerate all your magazine subscriptions into one thing and not have to worry about where your news is coming from. So it's just going to have a bunch of magazines here instead of having to pay for each one. In case you cared, like, you have all of them in one place. I mean, it's useful for anyone who reads magazines. It's $10 a month. You can test it out if you want. I don't think most people have a need for it. You can download magazines as well. So that'll be interesting. As you can see, they're all advertising it on their new iPad. Look at that. Look at the new iPad. Wow, it's so cool. Wow. Anyways, yeah, so that's pretty much it for the Apple news currently, unless I'm missing anything. Unless I'm, like, forgetting something. I think that's it. They released that. They're planning, obviously, their iPhones and stuff. So the current leak, it's not really real leak, but the original current leak of the iPhone 11 was that they were going to have this Huawei-like camera setup where it was going to be like a square with a bunch of cameras and a flash here, and it was going to look ugly, and thank God it's probably not going to be the case. There's other designs like this weird thing right here that also look pretty bad. I mean, they're probably going to hopefully do something better than this. That would be the guess. That would be the hope, that it doesn't have this weird square thing like that. But that's the current leak design that we currently have so far. Of course, none of it's confirmed, obviously. But, you know, just in case there's some images, maybe that. So we'll see what happens with the whole camera design thing. I'm not sure as of currently, but we'll see about that. Samsung had a very large amount of money thrown at it today because they released the Samsung Galaxy Fold. Their magic folding device that we have wow, I am peaking. We need to lower this down. Okay, sorry about that. You're probably blowing out your ears. We're going to go there. So this is we're just going to get rid of this. So this is the Samsung Galaxy Fold, as you can probably tell. We're just going to watch a little bit of this. So effectively, it looks like this. At folded, it has a USB here, cameras, and it has a bunch of other knacks as well. So this is the front screen. It has a thick bezel here. And one at the bottom. The one here is for the earpiece and a couple of cameras. Has this screen, which is your phone screen, and then you open it up, and it's like this whole tablet thing with a notch on the side. So that's like the sort of design that we're going for here. My only issue with it, except our price, because it's not really a consumer product, I'm going to stress this a lot, especially in my speed tech video where I talk about this, is that it's not a consumer product. This is effectively a test sample or a test dummy, if you will, proving that to other companies that Samsung can actually make a product like this and have people buy its technology and its hinge design for the people to use it and hopefully make it cheaper. But the interesting thing is that I really feel like they kind of messed up in this way. This, to me, like, just looking at it, isn't a phone that can fold into a tablet. It's a tablet with a notch here with no headphone jack that has like a bunch of cameras that you don't really need. Tablet that has an external display in the front of it that just so happens to look like a phone. My problem is that's not a phone that can flip into a tablet. It's a tablet that has this small screen on the front of it for the price of a full laptop and a full tablet. Like, think of a tablet, you're going to think of the iPad. I recommend it. It's the best one. iPad Pro, $800. Expensive, but this is $2,000. And so you buy that, and you have a full-fledged tablet that's a lot bigger than this screen. Runs iOS, which is great. Excellent, like, software-wise. It's going to get support for a long time. Doesn't have any type of notch design at all. Has USB-C charging. Has the same things like this. Can connect to different cameras. Has the swipe gestures. Overall better. Less breakable. I mean, technically speaking, less breakable. Attach a keyboard to it. And then an entire laptop. Like, you can buy a iPad Pro, so excellent tablet, anything you need for a tablet, and then literally any laptop. Like, because it's only $800, you could buy a $1,200 laptop and be perfectly fine, or you could buy this thing. I don't think this is worth a laptop and a tablet. I really don't. And for that, I'm not going to ever recommend it. It's not something consumers should even be buying, but people like this need to give their opinions, and so they're going to show it off. Anyway, the interesting hinge design is definitely worth something. I don't disagree. But what I'm just really annoyed at is this isn't useful to anyone. I don't see anyone saying, yes, this is the phone that I'm going to use for phone calls. I'm going to open it up. Because my thing is that if you're having a tablet that's a phone, you want to be able to use the phone portion of it for more than just phone calls, right? And that's like, oh, I want to watch something, or I want to play a game, or I want to like read a newspaper or something, right? And you're going to open it up to this, and you're going to start reading it. And here's the app shelf in this thing, and the crease in the middle. Does he show the crease? He does, right here. There's a crease here. And so it's like not fully flush. And the problem is this is like plasticky type of material that's going to dent and bend over time as it is. So overall, I just don't think that it's going to be an overall benefit to a community here. But then again, Samsung just has their Note series that's coming out soon. That should hopefully blow it away. Anyways, in time. So we're almost done with this. The average watch time is 20 minutes. There you go. Yeah, so the last thing I forgot to mention before we ended off here is, wow, I can't believe I forgot this. So AirPower, if you're not aware, I actually have a QR post on this. You should go check it out. I post stuff on there answering things. It's effectively their wireless charging mat. So wireless charging, it was getting pretty big. Apple released with the iPhone 10 announcements of the AirPower and how it would work, and it was effectively going to be able to charge, as you see here, your iPhone or any type of wireless charging phone, and Apple Watch and AirPods all in the same sort of group and cluster, with having 3 pads, and you wouldn't have to worry about where they were placed. Like, you didn't have to find a hotspot like most chargers do. That last part, you may be thinking, oh, so you don't have to find a hotspot, so how does it work? Well, it just made the entire pad a hotspot. You know how much of a problem that is, because you have 3 things here. Each of them has a coil, to be able to charge each thing individually. The way the pad works is that if you go under it, right? Let's get a better picture. There we go. If you go under it, there has to be a coil here, and another one here, if it's under a hotspot section. If it's not, it has to, and what people have been determined since it's currently canceled, is the fact that they need 20 to 30 coils all wrapped around this very thin, very like compact device right here to be able to charge all these devices. And what they ran into is that would be just too much heat. It would overheat, and there wasn't really a way to fix it. Even making it thicker does not fix the problem. There's 20 to 30 coils that you need to place in this mat to charge stuff so that these 3 things can charge. Now, they didn't want to make it only have one circular thing, because at that point they already spent probably millions of dollars trying to develop it, and everyone's like, no, it's not going to work, and they were like, oh my god, we can definitely do this, and then they just failed miserably, and they actually couldn't do it at all. So yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. Can't charge any of these things. So with AirPower being canceled, Apple says the future is still wireless, although I agree. It's just we'll see what happens when they have to figure out when they have to figure out why this didn't work. They're probably going to release a wireless charging mat in the future at some point, but I really doubt that's going to work too well, considering they tried for so long and actually were so prepared to release it that they put it on things like the AirPods 2. The back of the case for the AirPods 2 actually has that whole system in place. As you can see, Anchor has something like it, but it's on specific hotspots. They wanted to get rid of that, and it didn't really work. So yeah. With that being said, if you enjoyed this and want to see more of it on the channel, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. So the next video you should see by me, I'm not going to guarantee or anything. It should be a Sony headphone review, Destiny 2, Jurassic World, Evolution, Gris, a bunch of options really. Could do the Crew 2, could do Forza Horizon 4. There's a bunch of options. And so if you want to see any of those, make sure you stick around for the channel. Some interesting things are going to be happening. And yeah, with that, I will see you all in my next video. Goodbye.